Would you like to know the 3 do's and don'ts that have helped me grow over 14,000 Pinterest followers without really trying? If you ever wondered how to grow Pinterest followers without the headache and without constantly being on the platform, and which strategy really worked for me, then keep watching. In this video, I teach you the 3 do's and don'ts to growing Pinterest subscribers on autopilot. But not just random Pinterest subscribers that will confuse the algorithm, but actual people that are interested in your blog, your business, and may become future clients and customers. Hi there, my name is Katie of whatskatieupto.com, and I'm a Swiss blogger and YouTuber. I teach passionate online entrepreneurs like you how you can use Pinterest to grow your blog and business. And before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell below so you don't miss any of my videos. I post a new video about Pinterest and blogging every Tuesday. Now, I know the struggle with trying to grow followers on any social media so well. Are you wondering why you aren't growing followers when other people's accounts seem to grow followers without really trying? Seeing that number and just feeling confused and miserable and not knowing what to do to change that? Now, I get it. I've been there too. It's a mindset I know too well, but I've actually got great news for you. Yes, Pinterest followers matter, and I'm going to tell you why in a second, but more importantly than the number of followers you get is the quality of followers you reach. You want to reach the right people on Pinterest, not just reach 1 million followers. Now, why is that? Because you have to think about the end goal of your Pinterest strategy. Unlike on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, you're not trying to make money on Pinterest with ads or necessarily sponsored content. These two monetization strategies usually require tons and tons of followers to make an income from it, right? Now, on Pinterest, you actually want to reach people so that they click over to your blog or your website, and from there you can sell them your products and your services. So it's way more important to reach and grow the right followers than just growing a sheer number of followers. You want to connect with the right people on Pinterest who are going to be a good fit for your products or services. Otherwise, they're going to click over to your website and be like, what is this? I don't want or need this at all. So reaching the right followers is 100% more important than the quantity of followers you have on Pinterest. Now that that's out of the way, let me give you the 3 do's and don'ts to growing the right followers on Pinterest that will help you grow your blog and business. And before we jump into the video, make sure you grab yourself access to my free blogger resource library. It contains over 30 blogging and Pinterest related downloads you can access immediately once you grab your password. Grab your free Pinterest guides, checklist, cheat sheets, and more so that there's nothing in the way of your Pinterest success. Find the link to the free library in the description below. Okay, let's jump into the 3 do's and don'ts that have helped me grow 14,000 Pinterest followers without really trying. All right, so before we jump into my 3 best tips on how to grow subscribers on Pinterest without a headache, I just wanted to explain a little bit more why followers are important on Pinterest and how to approach this the best way. So we're just here on my profile. You can see my followers here. So why do these followers matter to my account? So first of all, whenever I pin a new pin to my Pinterest account, my pins are shown to my followers here first. They will show up in their home feeds. And once those pins show up in the home feeds of those followers, the Pinterest algorithm analyzes how your followers engage with that pin. Now, if the engagement with that pin is high, that indicates to the algorithm that that is a good pin. Now, if all kinds of wrong people who aren't interested in what I'm talking about are following my account, they won't engage with that pin when they see it on their home feed, right? So the home feed looks like this, and they will scroll here, and then they will see my pin, but they won't interact with that pin because they're not really interested in that topic at all. So that means that this pin will fall flat with my followers. Now, why is that a really bad thing? So, when you get a ton of early engagement on your pin, so meaning clicks and views and impressions on that pin from my followers, this will indicate to the algorithm that this is a relevant pin. Once this pin gets a lot of early engagement, Pinterest will distribute that pin to other people who aren't following me yet. So if this pin really resonates with the people who are following me, I get a ton of distribution to people who aren't following me yet. That is really the power of followers. Now, the second reason why it's really important that the followers you actually got are relevant to your account is that our aim is that these followers click over to our website. So they maybe read a couple of our blog posts and they start trusting us, right? Because the end goal here for us is that they eventually buy a product of ours, or that they buy our services, or they hire us, right? Now, if you have a ton of followers that aren't really interested in what you're doing in the first place, they're never gonna hire you. They're never gonna buy your product. So it's really not ideal if you have 1 million followers on Pinterest who really don't care about what you're posting about. And believe me, growing followers on Pinterest doesn't have to be difficult. You really don't need 1 million followers to be successful. Always keep in mind that quality, so the right people, trumps quantity every single time, and that you should be focusing on your content, which will grow followers automatically because Pinterest will distribute those pins that are successful to people who aren't following you yet. Now, I hope you just took a deep exhale and you start to relax and understand that it's really more about focusing your energy on doing the right thing on Pinterest to get followers than just getting a ton of followers. All right, so let's jump into the 3 tips how to grow the right kind of followers on Pinterest. Okay, so my first tip is to create story pins. Don't try to fight Pinterest on this. Now, when you create a regular pin like this, your goal with this pin is to get a click over to your website, right? That's really the amazing thing about Pinterest, that you can get a ton of traffic to your website. Now, if I would go into the analytics of this pin and see how many people clicked on that, how many people viewed this pin, I don't even get the analytics of how many people followed me while seeing this pin. It's nowhere to be found. The goal here for this pin is really different. It's not trying to get followers, right? It's trying to get clicks, which is great, and I'm all here for it, but this video is about followers, right? So we know that followers matter, so let's look at story pins instead of just regular pins here. Now, this is a story pin that I created, and the thing about story pins is that you don't get the click option that you get on a regular pin. So people can't click on my story pin and then are redirected to my website. It doesn't work. There's no link on story pins. But let's have a look at what happens when you get to the end of a story pin. Okay, let me switch over to my phone because it's easier to see. And here is a story pin that I created. And let me just quickly go to the end of that story pin. So this is a quick tutorial showing you how you can create a quiz to grow subscribers. Now, at the end of this pin, you will see that instead of getting a click, you will be redirected to the profile of the person who created that pin. Now, this is really cool. Let's make another example. So let's search, for example, for pancake recipes. And you can see that we have a really cool recipe by Detoxinista here. And this is a beautiful story pin. Let's just quickly go through the recipe. And at the end of that story pin, you will see that you're able to follow her directly after that story pin. So instead of getting a link here, we can immediately with one click on follow and follow this account. Now, there's no other pin that makes getting followers a priority. This option, so your profile showing up with a big fat follow button, only happens with story pins. Okay, now story pins aren't available for everyone yet, but you can request early access to story pins here on this website. I will link to this website in the description box below. And then you can just go ahead and fill out this form and request for your account to get access. Now it says if you're in the US, you can request access. Now I'm in Switzerland and I requested access and got access, so I wouldn't worry about that too much, and just try and fill out the form to get access. And then just try and dip your toe into creating engaging story pins and see how your followers on Pinterest increase. All right, so my next tip number 2 for growing subscribers and followers on Pinterest is to never ghost your audience and just stay consistent. Now, consistency should be a no-brainer, but it's more difficult to manage in everyday life, right? I get it. I get overwhelmed with all the blogging tasks too. So I get that it's hard, but it's so important. So why is consistency so important in growing followers? Okay, so the first thing is that if you are consistent on Pinterest, you're going to reach new people. You're going to create new content and new pins, and they will attract new people. So you never 100% know exactly what your ideal customer is struggling with. So I want to create content that's inside of my niche, but kind of broad, that could attract my ideal blog reader or customer. If I only ever post every 4 months, I'm not creating enough content to attract new people. And if you can see that here in this board that is all about my blog content, you can see that I have over 651 pins. And they're all about different topics that relate to blogging and Pinterest. And I'm always trying to understand my audience better and better, but sometimes I need to communicate a problem differently, or just create a new blog post about new idea to attract new people. Now, the second thing is that if you're consistent, you're building trust with your audience. You become the go-to person. It's the exact same thing here on YouTube. Now, I've only got a couple of videos out there here on YouTube about Pinterest, but with every video I put out there, I'm growing the library for you to check out and learn more about Pinterest. The more videos I put out there, the more you're going to start trusting me and my content. And then when a Pinterest question pops up in your mind, you may think of my channel here on YouTube, right? And then you remember, oh yeah, she's posting about that. Maybe she did post about the problem I'm having right now. Now, if I only had one video about Pinterest here on YouTube, you wouldn't even know about me, and I would definitely not become your go-to person for Pinterest problems, right? And also, it can happen that people see your content multiple times, right? And interact with your pins on Pinterest, visit your blog or shop, but they never subscribe. I do this all the time. Sometimes I totally forget to subscribe to a great channel, if it's a YouTube channel, an Instagram account, or a Pinterest account. You want to pop up over and over again to remind them, yep, you are their person, and this content is awesome. It's a no-brainer to subscribe to this person. Their products and content is just great. And there's actually a rule in marketing that says that you have to see something 7 times to take action. So it can be that people have to see your things 7 times until they're actually going to subscribe. So it's really important to stay consistent and create new content. Now, as a final note here, consistency doesn't have to mean sheer volume. You can also check out my video about how much pinning is right. It's not just about pinning a ton of stuff. It does have to work with your schedule. Set realistic goals. Okay, so my final tip number 3 for growing subscribers and followers on Pinterest is to never play the follow-unfollow game. It just doesn't work, and your account could get shut down because it's spammy behavior. Now, whether you're thinking of doing this manually, like manually follow and unfollow people on Pinterest, or you're using third-party tools to follow, unfollow on Pinterest, I would just recommend you check out Pinterest spam policy. I will link it in the description box below for you to check out. And you can see that they clearly say, don't use automation that hasn't been explicitly approved by Pinterest. This includes unauthorized services that automatically perform actions on your behalf. So there are tools out there that follow, unfollow people on Pinterest so that your account kind of grows faster. These won't be authorized by Pinterest and could get your account shut down. And moreover, this goes back to the beginning of this video and why we really want to get the right people as followers and not just anybody as followers. If you start following random people on Pinterest, you're going to get followers back. Yes, it works. But the thing is that these followers will completely mess up your chances to getting high early engagement on your pins when you post something new. Why? Because these people don't really care about what you're posting. Your followers will see your pins and scroll right past them. This will indicate to the algorithm that you're not a good pinner, that your pinning is irrelevant, and it will overall decrease your account quality. Please don't do it. Even if you're starting out with 100 followers, it's not worth your time. If you're following my first 2 tips, your followers will grow. So being consistent and creating story pins. Maybe you won't grow followers in the millions, but it doesn't matter. When your pins get higher early engagement because the followers you've got engage with the pin, Pinterest will automatically show your pins to other people who aren't following you yet. Save yourself the time and trouble to follow, unfollow. It really doesn't get you any closer to your end goal. These were the 3 do's and don'ts that have helped me grow the right kind of followers on Pinterest without really trying. Don't get caught up in the follower game on Pinterest. And make sure that your Pinterest strategy actually aligns with your business and blogging goals. It's not just about the amount of followers, but about reaching the right kind of audience. Also, don't forget that this video is sponsored by my free resource library. You can grab your password to the library on my blog and get access to 30+ free downloads teaching you all about blogging and Pinterest. Grab your free Pinterest PDF guides, cheat sheets, checklists, and more on my blog. I've put the link to the free library in the description below. And before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell below so you don't miss any of my videos. I post a new video about Pinterest and blogging every Tuesday. Now I wish you a lovely day and talk to you soon. Cheers!